Biscuit World Daily, broadcasting live from Lagos, the commercial nerve center of our country. And that's a place I cannot mortgage for anything at all. Lagos runs in my veins. I cannot sleep anywhere else. I'll be having some goose pimples. I don't know how it works. But I haven't spent almost 30 years here. Then I think I'm on the right path. I don't know how many years our guest has spent in Lagos, but I know that Lagos is also central to all her activities. I'm talking about the one and only Omotola Ekehinde. Hello. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, sir, and thank you.
I know what you've done is to really stand everything by for this program. You know how very busy you are. And I'd like to thank you again.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
I've been watching your progress, and it's been on an upward swing, unassailably so. And I think there's a reason for it. It comes, with the kind of commitment that you have put to this business. Now, just a while ago you were singing. What's the concept behind the song that we just saw?
Right, the song, the video you just watched was Feel Alright, and that's the single from my new album, which is going to be launched later this year, 2010. And yes, I'm a singer now. Maybe I should officially say that, just in case you didn't know, But my first album came out in 2005. It was titled Ba. I'm sure a lot of people remember Nigelo, from that album. But over the years, which is 5 years exactly, I have come out with another album, or I'm coming out with another album. And this time, it's pop and rock, unlike the first album that was more of R&B and all, hip-hop or something. This is more of pop and rock, and with this album I have matured and I know exactly what I want to sing about and how I want to sound and all of that. So now my music is really basically inspirational, so it's 80% or 70% inspirational, and then maybe the 30% of our life, love and all.
I think this guy sounds like a broken record. You must have heard this pop to you in so many places and by so many people. But you came to limelight through acting.
Right.
Music has just come somehow on the sidelines. How
Right.
did that aspect of you develop?
Entertainment is wholesome, So somewhere along the line, you would naturally start to feel like you want to do other things, be it writing, dancing. Like you said earlier, it was Uncle Tony that said it earlier that he saw me on Dancing, I was going to say Dancing with the Stars, on Celebrity Takes Two, which is our own version or something, but, so that was some form of entertainment as well. But, as an entertainer, I would do anything in the line of entertainment, that I could naturally do. But that's on the career path. But also on the talent part of it, when you're growing up, in school, naturally they will take you through different kinds of talent, programs, acting, poetry, debating, and singing. So I have done singing in the past, and actually I thought that if I was going to be in the entertainment industry, that would actually be singing. I never really planned to be an actor, but I always thought that if I was going to be in the entertainment industry, it would be singing. So that was what I looked forward to. But God plans our destiny, and I came in through acting.
Proposes, God disposes. now, let's bring our viewers who might be watching this interview with you for the first time.
Right.
Up to date with how you actually started acting. You told this story once before.
Yes.
You're on here, but let's bring them, up to the speed with that.
Okay. I started acting in 1995, to be precise. I started out as a model in 94 as soon as I left school, waiting for JAMB and all of that, and you don't want to be idle. So I started out modeling. And a friend of mine who was a model as well was going for a casting, for a movie. We actually went for the audition for a job then in our modeling world. And she asked me to go with her, accompany her basically, which I did. She went in for the audition and she didn't get the part, and it was for NECA Part 2, and she didn't get the part, and she was quite upset, and she came out and she was like, I didn't get the part. I was like, oh, sorry, can we go now? Because we were actually waiting for our turn, and I was like, oh, we need to go before it gets to our turn and everything. She said, okay, but we're already here. Why don't you just go in? And I objected because I thought you had to pay, and I was broke. And she said, no, you don't have to pay, it's free. I was like, okay. What's it going to cost me? Nothing, right? Okay, so I'll just go. And it wasn't really anything serious for me because I thought they would never take me. They're better people. So I got there, luckily, they gave me the part, and I came out and I told her. And I ran home, like I didn't plan for this, but I got him home. I got the part in the movie. And then that was the end of my dream in the beginning, because she was like, no, you can't do the movie. I cried my eyes out, but she said no because of the part I was given was the mermaid part. And she believed that I would be haunted. But, that started my romance really with the movie industry. After that, I grew, should I say, confident enough to try out the next one on my own.
People took a second look at you.
Right. That would have to be Mortal Inheritance. Mortal Inheritance, yes. And that was a 96 production. And what is ironic is Mortal Inheritance was actually the fourth movie I did. But a lot of people think it was the first. It was the fourth movie I shot. But it came out as a third.
Okay. Yes. What would you call your experience, first-time experience behind the mic, behind the cameras? Did you have butterflies and all of that? What kind of experience is it? First time behind the mic, the click light.
Yeah, actually it's weird, but no. I don't know why, but it just felt like, okay. Even after the experience, I was like, maybe I just wasn't sure it was going to come out. I don't know what I was thinking, but I probably was just thinking, the movie's not going to come. I don't know, but I just didn't, I wasn't, tripping or anything. And even when I saw the posters, I was like, oh, okay. Is that me? Okay. And then I think it hits me really seriously from Mortal Inheritance. I think that was when it really hit me, like, okay, like seriously, I'm winning an award now, because I just really pretty story, So I think it would be more of when it hits me than what I really felt like when I started seeing it. Yeah.
Taking it seriously.
Right.
Well, all right. Let's ask you to do the summarization of Nigerian film industry. How do you score yourselves?
Good. Could be better, but good. I will score as good. I think we have come a long way, actually, from nothing. It's easy to criticize, but it is very hard to build, unfortunately. And people don't want to hear, you give yourself credit, and they won't even give you the credit. So sometimes just give yourself the credit anyway. So I would say that Nollywood has single-handedly, somehow put Nigeria on the map. Yes, and that is the truth. You can argue it all you want, but that is the truth. Where a lot of other industries were failing or not particularly doing anything internationally, to put Nigeria on the map, I think Nollywood, did that, and Nollywood gave Nigeria some sort of image, good, bad, whatever. It gave us some image, and it made people start to notice, like, okay, there are these people, this is their culture, this is how they talk, this is how they react, to issues or whatever. And I think that's what we've been able to do. So now we need to leverage on that and then move higher. Mm-hmm.
I would rather we say the good image, part of it. So what do you say to those who say that although we're very popular almost everywhere, that we need to really rethink the kind of the kind of films that we put across, because lest the larger world have a different impression about you? What do you think about those who just think that all we live for is juju and the rest of it? What do you think we should do in terms of those of you who produce the films?
Well, I totally understand their concerns, but that's why it's a movie industry. We actually mirror the society, so you can't in actual facts criticize an industry that is showing or mirroring what is happening in society. I think the society needs to change first, and not hope that we would lie, for the society. I think, first and foremost, movie makers are people who are doing movies also to earn money. They are business people, don't forget that. So, if they do a certain type of story and people buy into it, there is a tendency that they will do more of those kind of stories. So also, not only are they mirroring what is happening in the society, they're actually also feeding the society with what they want to see. Because you are buying these movies and you're telling them we like this kind of stories, so they're going to keep making more. So, it's not just about you criticizing them. You need to put your money where your mouth is and not buy these movies. Because if you don't buy the sort of movies that people always want to, that you are criticizing, then naturally as businessmen, they'll go, okay, the people don't like this kind of movies, we need to start writing new scripts, and all of that. But having said that, the truth of the matter is movies really are real. I read an article recently where some, heads of the police force said, they needed us to change some image of the police and all of that in our movies. Right. I also understand that we over-exaggerate, but that is what movies are about, we exaggerate.
Actually, I was going to that, as if you read my mind.
Oh, seriously?
The IG has actually banned the usage of their uniform in your appearances and all of that. How do you take that?
No, I think that is not very wise. I think that's not a very wise thing to do because, that is what we do. We show people what, the country is like. And in as much as I also, I watch movies myself, and there are times when I go, oh, come on now, I understand that, sometimes they feel hurt, the way we portray them. But the solution seriously will not be to ban uniforms. That would be actually doing them more injustice than justice, because then we would now start showing them in the bad light, probably very dirty uniforms, torn uniforms, and we'll go, we're not wearing their uniforms, and then they'll run back. So I will advise him, if he's watching or if any of his aides are watching, to reverse that real quick. It is going to do you more harm than good. I think what they should do is to partner with the industry. You need to school them also and let them know. In fact, part of the reasons why I would say maybe sometimes we hurt them indirectly or directly is because they are not cooperating enough. Hello, that's the truth. Because they're not cooperating. Sometimes you want to get their uniforms, they don't give you these uniforms. Okay, so maybe you have a policeman wearing a uniform, there's no belt. He's not going to go probably make belts, or whatever. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm saying, under circumstances that we have found ourselves, they don't make these things. So sometimes making these things readily available to them also helps. And by the time you help their job, you're actually in a better position, to dictate some things, because then they know they need you. So they want a van, and you're saying, okay, I'm not only going to give you a van, I'm actually going to give you guns with, whatever, empty bullets and all of that, but you're going to do something for me. I'm going to send a policeman to supervise this project and put you through how we do things, and everything. I'm not dictating your script to you or whatever, but, we would guide you on how we react and all of that stuff. And where there's a clash of interest, then you can sort it out, or something. But, that is a better approach and a more prosperous approach, I think.
All right, you've been abroad very many times, and you're very popular. I have been a living witness to that when candidates together on a project about 5 years ago.
Right.
And I was really happy for you, the way they were taking you and all that. What kind of requests do you get from those abroad?
Oh, yeah, it's the same things.
in the way to improve our performance,
right?
As film, script writers, film producers, and all of that.
Right. Basically, it's the same thing we talk about in every other sector. Not necessarily Nollywood alone. Better. We want better. We all want better. Better performances, better lighting, stories. Marketing. So they're not really saying things that we are not already agitating, about, and we understand their fears. Sometimes you also hear them saying things about, the image, that we're portraying, like you said earlier. But all in all, they're happier. I think they're even more happy about the movies than we are back home, because I think for them it has done more, and all of that. I remember I was with, some family, and the man, the head of the family, who's very, someone very important in society, even in the American society, said, despite my clout and my position and everything, I sometimes have to slot in some movies, for some of my colleagues that are not African, to watch, and they go, wow.
That's the Canada experience they're showing there.
Wow, okay, that's great, Okay. And they show these movies to some of their colleagues and go, this is what Africa is like, because sometimes some of these people that have not been down here actually think that we live on trees. It's amazing. In 2010, people actually think that Africans live on trees. I find it very ridiculous. And seriously, you can laugh at it all you want, but it's not funny. There are actually some children, even some Nigerian children that have never been home. I was with a kid, and funny enough, actually in Canada, who said she wasn't interested in coming home. And the mom, called me. Yes, and she's a Nigerian.
Ugly story.
Yeah, terrible story. She said, I was told that if I come, they're going to cut my head, they're going to use me for rituals, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and all of that stuff. And, somebody will say, oh, maybe they got that from movies. But, seriously, we really have to ask ourselves, hello, do these things happen? So, but, the point is there are also good things happening. And you can actually, what I always tell people is you can compare different problems in different societies. We don't bomb people here, we don't do spiral killing and all of that. So every society has its own problems, and I can understand that we really need to, harness more of our positive side and our strong parts more than our negative.
You spoke about, the foundation you had for the children some time ago. How far is that? Still on?
Oh, yes, it is. It is. Actually, I don't work directly with the children. I work with the children with the UN. So I work with the WFP, which is the World Food Program, and we work with children, So basically, I work around Africa. And we have done wonderful campaigns in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, about food. And interestingly, in this album, I have a wonderful song called Barren Land, dedicated to WFP. And it's about children and food, basically. So yeah, that's my contribution, towards children. Otherwise, I personally work with the youths, So that's why I have, my foundation is actually called the Omotola Youth Empowerment Program. Yeah.
The Omotola Youth
Empowerment Program.
Well, the music industry.
Yes.
That's an industry where nobody can ignore your presence there. With your foray, you've been there for 5 years now.
Right.
How do you appraise the music industry?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's tough. It's tough, especially for me. Coming from the movie world to to music. It's very tough. It's probably harder than everything else I've done, right. But I'm still there.
As we close, what would be a special message to your many fans growing by the millions every second?
Well, I want one message personal, then the second message global. The first personal message is thank you very much for supporting me. I have very loyal, wonderful fans that have known me since I was, 16 or something. I want to say thank you very much for allowing me to grow right in front of you, teaching me, correcting me, and loving me for who I am. I just want to thank you. Please do not listen to rumors. I have my website, www.omotola.tv, or you can check me up on Facebook on Omotola Fan World. So if there are any questions, that you need and you can't call on maybe BISCOM or something, you can, forward your questions to this place and I will personally, answer them. So I just want to say thank you very much for your support and God bless you and your families. And Uncle BC,
I think we just...
to you, I want to say thank you very much for mentoring us. You have been there for us for years. You get younger by the year. After this, you have to tell me what you use. God bless you and your family. Thank you so much for mentoring us and for being here for us.